to jump from one topic to the next because that sort of reflects the way my life has been, very chaotic and crazy. When the Jesuits attack me, it's like a blitzkrieg. And I have learned that to survive, I have to be able to do the work of 20 people in one day. So I have a tendency to jump around, go from one task to another, changing my priorities throughout the day, making myself maximum very, very flexible. When you deal with these Jesuits, I've learned you can't afford to be too rigid because they're always surprising you with something. And they always come up with something different and creative, and they're very smart. So I've learned an essential survival skill is creativity. And you can't have any preconceptions about what you're going to do on any given day. So some of that survival skill that I've learned is you can see it in the way I'm presenting this tape, this tendency to jump from one topic to the next, trying to hit what I think is most important, then going back and hitting topics less important. That's a skill that I've developed over the past several years. Maybe it's like a battle skill or something. I try to attack what I think needs to be attacked most. I hit my number one priority. Then after that's hit, I'll go back and get a lesser priority. So I'm a big multitasker, and unfortunately, I'm multitasking as I give this statement. And I don't know if that's the best way to go about it, but it's just something so deeply ingrained in me because of how I've had to adjust to survive that I end up doing it when I'm even giving a speech. I will get more into that later. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I am playing back bits and pieces of the tapes, and I realize that I am speaking rather fast. I'll have to admit, I would much rather be studying German right now than making this tape. I have found this case to be a big pain in the neck. I really wish I didn't have to do this. But unfortunately, it is necessary because they won't leave me alone. So I'm doing this because it has to be done to protect the innocent and to tell the truth and for justice to prevail. But I would much rather be working on my writing or to be married and making love to my lover than making this tape. This is not really something that I want to do. I don't enjoy this case. I've never enjoyed it, and I wish I didn't have to do anything to do with it. I mean, this is not something I enjoy, but it's my duty. It has to be done. People need to know the truth. We cannot allow these criminals to get away with this. The main point is this. I'd really rather not be doing this. And maybe that's why I'm speaking so fast. I'm trying to get it over with, and I guess I'm going to have to change my attitude. This is not something I enjoy. I'd rather be doing anything but this. It's really painful for me to bring back a lot of this stuff. It's bringing back some really painful memories, and this is difficult for me. And I think that's why I'm speaking so fast. I just want to get it over with, but apparently that's not the best approach. I forgot to mention today's date. This is August 29, 2002. And I'm taping in bits and pieces. I'm multitasking as usual, reading the paper. And that's just a skill that I've developed to survive. So you'll have to forgive me. That's my method of doing things. It's too deeply ingrained in me to stop. I've had to be a very good multitasker. I would like to say that one of the reasons that this Brent Laurie case has been so stressful for me has been that I realize that much of what I say about myself is hard to believe. Frankly, I'm just an unusual person. And I realize that because I am unusual and because there aren't a lot of women like me, that a lot of people are not going to believe me. In fact, that's one of the biggest reasons that I did not marry I did not offer to marry Brent Spiner for a year after he propositioned me, because I was worried that people would think that I only wanted him for his money. Even though I'm very aware of public stereotypes and how people normally think. In fact, I ought to mention some of the other things I was doing while I was courting Brent, you could say, with my letters. I was a very active member at Open Door Baptist Church in Linwood, Washington, going to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Thursday night. Sometimes I missed the midweek service or a Sunday night service, but I was a very active church member, and I felt close to a lot of the people at that church. I really liked that church, and I liked the preacher. I thought it was one of the best churches that I've ever been a member of. And so the whole time that I was courting Brent, I was very active in church, because my relationship with God has always been important to me. And I decided that I wanted God to bless my love for Brent. I didn't see how he could do it, but I knew nothing was impossible with him. But I would like to say this. One of the biggest advantages that the Vatican has had in this case is the fact that I am an unusual person. And so unusual that when I give my testimony, most people would tend to think that I'm exaggerating or that I'm not telling the truth. I'm aware of this, and that's one reason that I've been so tight-mouthed or quiet about my life, because there just, frankly, are not a lot of people out there like me. I'm unusual. And people tend to look at you from the framework of themselves. When we judge our fellow human being, we tend to see people through our own eyes, the way we approach life. And so when you meet somebody who's really different from you, I've noticed that as a writer, I've been fascinated with human behavior, and I'm a character writer, which means I'm a bit of a mini psychologist. And I've noticed that people tend to see others through themselves. So unless you have greatness within yourself, you're not going to believe that there's